So last time in the comment section down below, you Sombra mains voted to see FitzyHere as the next character and player that I'm going to talk about in this tip video series. So here we are talking about Sombra. And with that said, if you'd like to see any more of these in the future, hit the subscribe button and tell me in the comment section down below who you want to see, and whoever gets the most votes or the most comments, I will talk about next. Anyway, straight to the gameplay. Right here, we initially see something super good. You're playing Sombra kind of differently now. I feel like this is generally one thing you might want to keep in mind, that we saw it from right there. Sombra's not really as much of a counter diver anymore. Well, she still is, but we aren't really facing way too many dive teams anymore. So now you need a player much more in the back line of the enemy team, going for poke, going for picks, annoying them, getting out damage, charging your ultimate, and stopping them from getting health packs. You have to be a lot more aggro than I feel like you used to have to be with her, but we see that it still does work here, and we almost get a pick at the beginning. We're getting a ton of attention to ourselves. Unfortunately, our team's kind of getting whomped a little bit on this first point. Eventually, it does get a little bit better, but this is generally how you kind of want to play, and as we continue to watch this player, we're going to see this more and more. Now, for Sombra this season as well, you kind of have to just not be afraid to play her as a second half support. That's kind of, well, what I kind of mean with that is that you can play Sombra with Mercy and Soldier, or Sombra with Mercy and Symmetra, or Sombra with Mercy and Torb. It's kind of those other half support-ish type characters that can be played as support or DPS. And when you put them all together, it makes it that you have a good amount of healing, a good amount of damage, a good amount of everything, especially crowd control and all these other really unique things these characters have. But just kind of remember, that's kind of where you can pick her into this, and I wouldn't play her as like the main DPS type character. And while she can do that okay, her flanking isn't quite as initially strong, but her team fighting is pretty good because of the EMP, of course. So I guess that's how you can kind of decide when to pick her, and you can mainly pick her whenever because not too many people want to play support, and if you're even just playing her as the second support and giving out a bit of healing and a bit of hacks, that's generally good enough for you. Now, some other stuff to talk about with Sombra in this season as we continue to push up the point really well, is that she's not doing that great in low elo this season. It's a lot harder to play her against the console we have right now, against Mercy, against Reinhardt, against all these different characters, but you still can do it. But especially once you get to higher elos, her win rate really skyrockets. She becomes much better, and once you get really good at her, she starts to win a lot more games. I know that makes sense, but you know, certain characters, as you get to a higher rank, the win rates just kind of stay at like 50 at every single rank. Sombra's definitely changes to better the higher rank you get. So kind of keep that in mind and remember that sometimes it might be hard to play her, especially when you are playing at low ranks. Now, another tip that I see that we saw earlier on was that when we are invisible, you got to make sure to use your teleports to get behind the enemy team. Then from there, poke, get kills from the behind, and mainly just don't try to attack from in front of them. I know that it seems like something you might want to do, but just try to get behind, get on the high ground as well. That's something that we're seeing a lot, and that'll help you a ton. As far as high ground goes as well, as we see right here, it makes it that you can get above the enemies, get a lot of poke damage, get a free hack, but mainly it makes it that you can actually hack the enemy Reinhardt's shield. I feel like that is one of the most important things you want to keep in mind. Reinhardt shields are very powerful, and a lot of times you can't hack it from the front, so this is a good way to get around that and a good way to keep pushing. As far as pushing as well, though, we see right here, we're pushing up, we're ahead of our team, but once we get a kill for the most part, you know, we try to pick off a kill, then we come back to our team, help them, finish off the point, and just kind of kill the last people that are trying to stall on the point, because Sombra's super good against stall, because of course you can hack everyone. Now as well, when you are behind the entire enemy team, do spend a few seconds, hack all the health packs, heal yourself up with those things, and you know, just kind of go for that. As far as when you're trying to get kills, try to get the picks, but learn when to trans out. If you're at like half health, for the most part, we're seeing our player right here transing out immediately. We aren't playing very risky. While we are almost always behind the enemy team, we're always playing to live and to just live another day and get out more damage. Just kind of expect to do that and to play kind of defensively, even though you are right next to them. And try not to die really ever, except for from like instant burst that you can't really play against that much. Sorry about that, like a Hanzo or a Widowmaker or something like that. Well, when we're talking about your EMP, this is another thing that's very important. Please tell your teammates when your EMP is coming up. He's done this again and again in this game. Don't use your EMP without telling your teammates, and I think this is the one time he doesn't, and you know, nothing really happens from it. It's not the best EMP in the world. I really like this player, but you know, that was unfortunate for us. But yeah, please do tell them that, and please don't use your EMP without your teammates' ults, because it's not way too strong without a lot of other ults, but with a lot of other ults, it might just be one of the best ults in the entire game. During this game as well, though, we are seeing a Mercy pick from the enemy team. That's a super strong pick, as we all know. It's probably the best pick in the game right now as far as supports go, and really any character. you can actually do pretty well against her, because if you see a Mercy that just ulted or that was about to ult or that is just in the enemy backline, you can first off kill them pretty easily. But second off, if you just happen to hack them, then you can make so they can't res anyone, and you essentially go +2 in the team fight, and if you can kill her, that's even better for yourself. Right here we do something funny, which is to get behind the enemies, and again, don't be afraid to do that. Just wait there, stall out for a second, learn patience. It's something you don't really want to do as DPS characters, but Sombra, you gotta do that. You gotta wait for the perfect time to go in when people aren't really paying attention to you, and then pick them off. Like right here, we almost get the Mercy, and she can't really get away. I think our team might pick her off, maybe not, or we kill her right here, so, you know, whatever, good enough. But just kind of put that all into practice for yourself. And yeah, as far as, you know, hacking the Mercy, it does stop her escapes, so it does help in that way as well. I think she still can fly, which kind of sucks, but it becomes a lot easier for you to hit her, and a lot easier for your teammates to hit them. You can also push in front of the payload a little bit and kill people there to give the payload some, you know, more consistent damage on it. And finally, you can hack people coming out of the enemy spawn to stop spawn stalling, so they can't just play someone like Mei or Tracer. So do just, as far as this tip goes, stand next to the enemy door when you do finally get right next to the enemy spawn and just hack whoever comes out. Doesn't really matter who they are. If you can block their abilities, it will be nice for you, I guess, except for if they're like a McCree, but anything else, it's pretty good. Now we're going on to defense though, and on defense, I feel like it's kind of harder to play, but not way too much harder. I feel like your ultimates on offense are much more explosive, but on defense, you kind of have to counter ult. You see a lot of enemies ulting, a lot of enemies about to ult or something like that. You use your counter ult and it stops it. And especially with the new change, which makes it that, you know, if they start ulting, but then you use your ability, it'll like get rid of all their ult charge. That's even better now. It's kind of dumb. I'm not sure why it works that way, but it does, which is kind of cool. On defense as well, though, we see that we are walking straight up to them, straight behind them, get into that melee range. As Sombra, you do kind of want to play somewhat like a Reaper, where you're like right on people for the most part, behind them, because you can kill them a lot faster that way, and you're going to be a lot more accurate, unless you're trying to get that mid-range consistent damage, like if you're on the payload. But yeah, we can see that going on right here, and we're really just risking ourselves a little bit, but you see that we're essentially always translocating once we get to half HP, so we don't really ever die. We're up here for a long time, and it's working out pretty well for us, and that's kind of how you want to play out this defense. As well, again, I want to say, just be okay to use the health packs for yourself. Don't be afraid to waste it. You might have to wait another like 5 or 6 seconds, but often it's better to get some ult charge on yourself than to maybe get an extra hack. Not always, but especially if the enemy team doesn't have something that's way too important to hack all the time, that's a good thing to do. We're just going to continue poking up right here, you know, continuing hacking the Mercy. While it isn't always the best hack, the Mercy, I'm going to say that, especially if like your teammates are already about to kill her. I think it's always a pretty good idea to do at the beginning of the fight, because it makes so that the Mercy can't escape, and so that she can't get a really early res on her teammates, and your Mercy can, so you'll be +1 for at least a decent amount of time. And yeah, especially if she ults, that's even better for yourself. Where he's playing right now, I think, is also a pretty important thing to talk about. He's always playing around health packs. He's always trying to live. Unfortunately, he gets sniped right there because he doesn't realize that they have a Widowmaker, which kind of sucks. But he's always playing around health packs and making sure that he isn't really in way too much danger, and he's putting down that E. Sorry, again, I'll stop trying to say really, and whatever. I just have these weird things that I always say. When we were coming out of the spawn, we actually saw him going for the E and then the shift, or I guess the translocator and the invisibility, whatever you want to call it. He immediately went for those because it gives you more speed, you can get out of spawn faster. I know that that's very obvious, but I don't see like any Sombras doing that. It's a thing you should always do, and there's literally no negative to doing it, but many people just don't. So just put that in your mind, put in a little bit of effort, and that'll help you. I guess I'll just say that'll go a long way when you are trying to win the game. We're getting pretty close to the end actually right now. I feel like generally we're doing quite well in this game. We're waiting around, we're trying to get to the back line. This person over here, unfortunate for us, this Widowmaker, dealing a decent amount of damage. Sometimes it is kind of hard as this character to actually hit people at melee range if they're jumping around, and that's why you want to kind of be behind them, because then they won't really expect where the damage is coming from, and they probably won't be so jumpy, so it'll be a bit easier for you to kill them, at least for the most part. One of the final tips I'm going to say right here is, though, you want to make sure that you're actually calling out the enemy team characters that are at low HP. Your wall hacks are so overpowered, just so useful to your team. You can tell people where the enemy's team entirely is. If you know, like, their Mercy is really low HP somewhere, you can probably guess where their whole team is. But also, you can just tell where to get picks for your other picking backliners, like a Genji or like a Tracer. and you can just have people finish off the same people that you know are already low HP, or at least tell them where these people are. Just call out when people are low HP and where they are. I know it is more effort, and I know that like you think you shouldn't really have to, but no one else has this information, only you do, so it is definitely worth your time to do all this. We're kind of finishing off this point though pretty quickly. We're taking out whoever we can. We try to focus mainly on that Mercy first. Sometimes we do get picked out, but of course we have our own Mercy. We're blocking the Mercy's flight with our hacks, and eventually we get off to this back line, and I think we might be able to pick off this Widowmaker. We get the soldier right there. And do kind of remember that while you do want to get close up to the enemies to get a quicker kill, you can still kind of snipe similarly to a soldier if you really need to in a tough spot. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you learned anything from this video, make sure to leave a like. Press the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And comment down below who you want to see for the next time. If you want to see Sombra again, maybe I could hook you guys up. I know that you guys, you Sombra maniacs, a lot of you guys want to see this character. So, whatever. Maybe we'll be able to see her a little bit in the future. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. And have a wonderful day. I'd like to thank Gilded.gg for sponsoring this video and mainly helping me a lot through the adpocalypse. So, Gilded itself is a website focused on finding, founding, and expanding your gaming team with relative ease. You can schedule events, recruit new members, build team comps, and find teams to scrim with and to scrim against. Best of all to you guys, it's free. You can get started yourself with the link in the description below, and if you sign up by November 10th, you'll be entered into a chance to win a $50 Blizzard gift card. So, maybe I'll see you there.